This is the final tutorial in the series looking at how to create and upload regions to the Space Virtual World platform. In the previous tutorials we looked at how to link your Unity project to your account, how to set up your scene and how to handle the different parameters and settings in the scene export settings tool. In this final tutorial we're going to look at the actual submission process itself, pushing this region to the servers so that you and your friends can log in together. So I'm going to save the scene and I'm going to click the Apply Compression Settings button, which applies all of the settings in the platform settings section that we looked at in the fourth tutorial. In theory, that could all be run as part of the automatic submission. We could just add it as a task in that pipeline. But we've left it separately because you may want to make adjustments after the automated process has run. So for instance, if you set all of your mobile or your Webgl textures to a maximum resolution of 512, you might then want to come in and manually override that. Maybe there's a particular texture, a painting on the wall, where you want to revert to the original higher resolution version. So after this process has run, you can now come in and make manual adjustments on a per object basis. And for a scene this size with about 2,500 objects in it, it'll take a couple of minutes for this to run. Okay, now I'm going to tick the Sort into Layers button, and this actually runs instantly as soon as I click it. And again, it's separate so that you can make manual adjustments afterwards. But what this has done is organized all of the content in the scene into one of 4 different layers for the draw distance of each object, so how far away it can be seen from. So you'll see at the top of the inspector there's this layer drop down, and this wall that I've just highlighted is defined as important in scene, which means it can be seen from quite a long way off. If I go and look at these rocks, they're currently set as default. I can manually override that on a per object basis if I want to. Again, there may be something particularly important that I want to be visible from a long way off. So those 2 processes are fairly straightforward. Our automatic sorting into layers process does it on the basis of size, but you can get in there and manually override it. These 3 other buttons you shouldn't have actually on your version. These are just in the developer version, so I don't need to cover off those. So now I'm ready to submit and then log in on the live servers. So I'm clicking Automatic Submission and uploading the region. And now the system is creating a huge zipped folder containing all of this content, which will then be automatically uploaded to the servers. When it gets there, it'll be unpacked by more copies of Unity. And so you can see it's now being sent, and the zipped file I'm uploading you can see is 229 meg, so my guess is that that will be something like a 60 meg download for a user logging in via Webgl. That's obviously a rough estimate. But as this goes through, I'll be looking for 3 emails when it's completed. One saying it's been received, one saying it's started being processed, and one saying it's available for review. So that's now happened. I'm back in the editor, and I'm going to scroll up to these buttons which I mentioned in a previous tutorial, which take me directly to the scene. So if I click on Creator, now that it's been published, it's logging me in via the browser. That's the splash page that we saw in, I think, the 3rd tutorial. There's a loading bar there, and the first thing it's loading is the player file, the Unity player file. Now it's logging my account in, and you can see the actual region itself is downloading. You may recall from one of the previous tutorials we talked about the mode of export, and for this one we set it to single scene, which means the entire region downloads to my desktop before I get in. Obviously the alternatives were the multi-bundle and additive scenes where the user arrives and then the assets arrive progressively, but this one is single scene, so when I drop into the scene everything will already be there, which is what's just happened. So I'm going to have a little wander around, look at the performance settings. Webgl is the toughest performance environment, which is why I wanted to come in here first and see how it performs. It's even worse quality than mobile at the moment, but it's not performing too badly. WebAssembly, which will be released by the major browser producers later this year, will dramatically improve the performance in Webgl, but even now it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to have a quick look at the in-world region settings. So if I click on the map here, you can see I've got the embed code, I get the URL. I can come to the members and see that at the moment it's open to the public. As the owner, I can edit that and make it friends only. And then I can see that only people on my friends list can get in, or I can create a custom list of people who have access, administrators or members of a group or whatever. So I think that shows the performance of the region in Webgl. I'm going to have a quick fly around. I'd be able to optimize it and probably get the frame rate up to about 20-25 frames per second if I fiddle with things like those mesh colliders. But I'm going to log in now to the same region using the desktop client and see how it performs there. Okay, so now I'm looking at the same scene in the desktop application, which is an executable file on my PC. And I'll just log in with the same account. It's downloading region again. The desktop client does actually cache regions, so I'll only have to download it once there. So I'm in. I'll bring up the frame rate checker again, just to see what sort of performance I'm getting in here. And I did ask a couple of colleagues to jump in as well. So again, in the top right here, I can bring up this panel, and this shows me who's in here at the moment, and I can just click and immediately see who is here, where they are. I can see his profile and what he's doing. So I'm going to now fly over and find them. I think I'm on the highest quality settings by default. We'll just check that. The button here in the top, bottom right, I'm on the ultra high settings, and I'm getting anywhere between sort of 30 and 45 frames per second. There are the other guys. So the desktop build is using the full shaders, the highest resolution of textures. It's running the same sort of post-processing you'd see on a AAA game title. And I hope that covers the process of uploading regions in the Space virtual world platform. The next tutorials will look at virtual goods.